Intimacy is different than completion, baby. You should know that by now. Well, here's the deal.
Whoopi Goldberg, the iconic face of The View, the sharp-tongued host who had spent years dishing out snark and political commentary, suddenly in the hot seat herself. The irony was too rich to ignore. The queen of fierce opinions was now facing the consequences of her own words. And the woman who dragged her into this mess? None other than the unapologetically bold and brave Caroline Leavitt.
Type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage.
For years, Whoopi Goldberg has been the one pointing fingers, mocking her political adversaries, and delivering her unfiltered takes on air. But this time, she wasn't behind the desk of The View, throwing insults from a comfortable chair. No, this time, she was in court, sitting across from Caroline Leavitt, the conservative firebrand who wasn't backing down.
Well, let's be clear. The forefathers didn't want someone above the law. That's why they didn't want a king. Yeah. That's why they came.
The reason? A defamation lawsuit that would turn Whoopi Goldberg's world upside down. It all started in the world of daytime TV, as it so often does. The View, where opinions are shared, sides are drawn, and political jabs are a daily event. And, as usual, the target of their latest attack was none other than Caroline Leavitt. The co-hosts, led by Joy Behar, took their shots at Caroline, mocking her political rise and reducing it to little more than her looks. The classic move, go after someone's appearance or gender to discredit them. But Whoopi? She didn't hold back. She went in hard, claiming Caroline's success was simply a product of wokeness.
Now, American actress and talk show host Whoopi Goldberg is facing a backlash after she said the Holocaust was not about race.
The audience laughed, the cameras rolled, and the co-hosts high-fived each other for their clever little jabs. But Caroline Leavitt wasn't laughing. She didn't even flinch. Instead, she collected her thoughts, stayed calm, and waited. Days later, Caroline made a move that no one saw coming. A lawsuit.
So the American people should not worry. If they're receiving individual assistance from the federal government, they will continue to receive that.
Well,
This wasn't just any lawsuit. This was an $800 million bombshell that sent shockwaves through ABC, The View, and beyond. The suit named Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and the network itself. The allegations? Character assassination, slander, and a pattern of bullying conservative voices in the media. But that wasn't all.
Why should we be taking your advice, man?
I'll tell you exactly why. Because it took me all those times to realize that I'm okay being on my own.
Caroline Leavitt wasn't interested in playing by the rules the network had set. She was playing for something much bigger than just a personal vendetta. She was fighting for the right to exist in a media environment where conservative voices weren't silenced or belittled. Her legal team released a statement declaring, "This is about accountability, not politics. No woman should be publicly dismantled for daring to hold a different opinion." Caroline wasn't backing down, and she was setting a precedent that would shake the very foundations of the media establishment. The lawsuit itself wasn't just a headline grabber, it was a full-blown war. Cut to the courtroom, and Whoopi Goldberg walks in, sunglasses on, her expression unreadable. But as Caroline's legal team started laying out their case, something started to shift. Eyewitnesses reported that Whoopi visibly trembled as video evidence was played, showing her mocking Caroline's intelligence, appearance, and even her accent. The clips weren't just a slap in the face, they were a direct attack on Caroline's character. And they came with receipts, months of footage, transcribed segments, and even internal show notes surfaced, showing that The View's producers knew exactly what they were doing, intentionally triggering Caroline's defenses. Then came the bombshell. Internal documents suggested that the producers were actively exploiting Caroline's youth and inexperience. They weren't interested in honest discourse. They were looking to get her on the defensive. The whole thing looked like an orchestrated effort to make Caroline look bad. Legal analysts in the courtroom were stunned. This wasn't just a case of mean-spirited commentary. It was a planned, calculated campaign to tear down someone they didn't agree with. Whoopi, of course, had her defense. She deflected, claiming that she wasn't aware of every production decision. But Caroline's lawyer, sharp as ever, shot back. "Ignorance isn't a defense when you have a mic in front of millions." That line landed like a punch to the gut. The courtroom went silent. And as all this unfolded, ABC executives were reportedly in full crisis mode. With advertisers quietly pulling deals and viewership dipping, the network was scrambling to save face. Whoopi Goldberg, once untouchable, was now a liability. Some insiders even hinted that ABC was drawing up an exit strategy, not just for Whoopi, but for The View itself. The show's future was hanging by a thread. As the days went on, Caroline Leavitt's calm, factual approach in the courtroom only seemed to strengthen her case. She wasn't out for revenge. She was out for justice. And people were taking notice. Social media exploded with support. Hashtags like #JusticeForCaroline and #Media Accountability were trending. And even those who had once criticized her were praising her for standing tall against an institution that had long gone unchecked. She wasn't playing the victim. She wasn't hiding behind her gender or youth. She was setting a new standard for accountability. Her legal team wasn't just fighting for her. They were fighting for anyone who had ever felt the weight of being silenced by a media giant. This case was about proving that even the loudest voices in the room have to answer for their words and actions. And Caroline wasn't going to let Whoopi Goldberg or The View get away with it. But the fight wasn't over yet. There was still one more major development to come, one that would take the controversy to a whole new level. Caroline Leavitt had raised a few eyebrows using the Bible to support her stance on issues like gender change surgeries for minors. She argued that parents should have the right to decide what's best for their children and that the government shouldn't dictate those decisions. This wasn't just a political argument, it was an ideological battle. And Caroline wasn't afraid to stand by her beliefs, no matter who disagreed with her. This case isn't just about a personal feud between Caroline Leavitt and Whoopi Goldberg. It's about something much larger. It's about the growing divide between media elites and the rest of America. It's about whether institutions like ABC and The View should continue to have unchecked power to shape public opinion, or whether there needs to be a system of accountability in place to ensure that every voice is heard, no matter how unpopular. If the court rules in Caroline's favor, it could change the game entirely. Whoopi Goldberg could be forced to issue a public apology, pay millions in damages, and possibly even step away from The View. And if that happens, the ripple effect could be felt across the entire media landscape. The era of unchecked takedowns could finally be over. And the question on everyone's mind is, will this be the moment that shifts the tide in favor of accountability? Whoopi Goldberg, once the undisputed queen of The View, now finds herself in a precarious position. The fallout from this lawsuit has the potential to alter the course of her career, and ABC is facing serious scrutiny over its role in this mess. If Caroline Leavitt wins, it could set a precedent that forces the media to rethink how it treats conservative voices. For ABC, this isn't just a lawsuit, it's a defining moment. Will the network continue to protect its biggest star, or will it take a step back and reevaluate the show's role in shaping public opinion? Advertisers are already pulling out, and viewership is dipping. Can The View survive this storm, or is it the beginning of the end for the iconic talk show? What do you think about this entire situation? Did Whoopi Goldberg cross the line, or is she just being held to an unfair standard? Should The View face consequences for its role in perpetuating a culture of media bullying? And most importantly, will Caroline Leavitt come out on top in this legal battle? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit that like button if you support holding the media accountable, and don't forget to subscribe for more exclusive breakdowns. Trust me, if Whoopi is breaking down in court, this saga is just getting started. Stay tuned for the next chapter in this insane drama. You won't want to miss it.